Good afternoon, Israel briefers from all around the world, and welcome to another edition of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, where we take a look at those top stories making the headlines right here in Israel. As always, we are brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land, and if you would like to receive our weekly newsletter, please be in touch with us either via our social media or via our newsletter website. Got to remember the difference, really. Okay, so it is day 648 since the 7th of October, and as we do every single day here on the Israel Brief, and as we will continue to do, remind the world that there are still 50 hostages that are being held captive in the hell of Gaza by Hamas and other terror entities. It is an absolute imperative that we get them home now. Yesterday I shared with you the story of Alon Ohel, one of our hostages, a very, very gifted concert pianist. He was injured with shrapnel in his eye when he was kidnapped on the 7th of October, and his mother warned if he does not get immediate medical treatment, there is a high probability he will go blind. 648 days of hell. We believe that about 20 of the hostages are still alive. Those are the ones we've received signs of life for. We want all of them, without exception, home now. And we need you guys to be our voice. I also just want to take a moment and thank all of you for standing with me and standing with Israel and the Jewish people through these very, very trying times. I know that many of you aren't Jewish and you continue to stand with us and you continue to pray for us. It is very, very, very scary out there for Jewish people at the moment, whether it is Australia or the United States or the United Kingdom or Canada or South Africa. Many Jews feel very, very frightened. We are seeing an unprecedented level of anti-Semitism that we haven't seen since the 1930s. The routine demonization of the state of Israel, the delegitimization of the state of Israel, and the double standards that apply to the state of Israel are rife. As we often tell people, you can criticize Israeli policies. It is basically the national sport here in Israel, but saying that we do not have a right to exist, blaming the Jewish state for all the ills in the world, everything from global warming to whatever you can imagine, is blatant anti-Semitism. Saying that Zionism is racism and that Israel is a colonial state or an apartheid state is anti-Semitic, and that is why I have worn my t-shirt today that says Zionism is a human right. Zionism is nothing more than the national liberation movement of the Jewish people, the belief in the right of Israel to exist and the right of Jews to establish their home in their ancestral and ancient homeland, the land of Israel. We are called Jews because we come from Judea and Samaria. So guys, I want to thank you for standing with us and for helping us to confront the hate wherever we may find it with facts. So let's take a look at the top stories, and we begin with news that the IDF has been given the command from the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister to strike Syrian regime targets in southern Syria. Now, the reason for this is following attempts by the regime to enter into areas that are controlled or predominantly Syrian Druze. Now, in the last couple of days, Syrian Druze have been clashing with Bedouins and members of the Syrian regime. So the IDF have confirmed that they struck targets including ARVs, armored vehicles, tanks, radar and other military assets to prevent them from entering into the Druze controlled area. Prime Minister has said that Israel is committed to preventing harm to the Druze in southern Syria. They have a brotherhood with the Druze in Israel. We have a bond of blood with our Druze brothers in Syria, and that we are absolutely committed to acting to prevent any harm from coming to them. If you have been following the Israel brief in the last couple of months, you will notice that ties between Israel and Syrian Druze are growing stronger and stronger and stronger. In other news, the Supreme Court has approved a compromise between Attorney General Gali Biara Maharav, or is it Gali Miara Baharav? It's always a confusing name for me, and Prime Minister Netanyahu, that will allow the Prime Minister to appoint Major General David Zini as the director of the Shin Bet. Now, there was a clash before this compromise was reached because the Attorney General said that the firing of the previous Shin Bet director, Ronen Bar, was unlawful. However, Ronen Bar resigned and ended his term last month. Now, under the new deal, it will see the Prime Minister waiting 2 months so that the Shin Bet will be able to conclude their inquiry before recommending Zini to the Senior Appointments Advisory Committee. This is the procedure that is followed in Israel. The Iranian Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has issued a very rare response to an open letter penned by the former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The Ayatollah has called Gallant's letter propaganda and a full-scale psychological warfare. Now, in his excellent letter written on his Substack, the former Defense Minister said that Israel will strike wherever. We will be watching, and we will strike if Iran so much dares to reinstate its proxies, its terror entities that it attacks Israel and the US and other Western allies through, and that if the Iranians dare to resurrect their nuclear program, we will watch, we will see, and we will strike. It's an excellent letter, and I urge you all to try and find it. And finally, 3 members of the UN Commission tasked with investigating Israel that falls under the UN Human Rights Council quietly resigned earlier this month. Members Navi Pillay, Chris Sidoti, and Milun Kutari apparently tendered their resignation earlier this month, and that letter has appeared during the last 24 hours or so. Now, Pillay has been an open supporter of BDS, and Sidoti and Kutari have also made anti-Semitic comments, including that Jews use the accusation of anti-Semitism like confetti at a wedding. We apparently throw it around, and other vile and disgusting comments. So they have resigned. Could it be that they are scared of the same sanctions being applied to them that were applied to Francesca Albanese, the special rapporteur? So, interesting times ahead, and we will be watching very, very closely. And now let's take a look at the audience question of the day, and it comes from Hilary Gordon in Cape Town, who says, who is the woman held hostage? So, as I mentioned yesterday, we still have 50 hostages. 49 are male and 1 female. The female being held hostage is Inbar Heyman. She was at the Nova Festival on the 7th of October when she was brutally murdered and her body taken captive. And we've heard from her family in the last couple of days, very, very concerned that her body needs to come home for a dignified burial. Very, very concerned that her body might be neglected or built over or suffer some horrific indignities if it remains hostage. So those are top stories for the day. Guys, please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. Our Facebook channel is at Lottle's site. We're on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. And guys, God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And join me again tomorrow for another edition of The Israel Brief. Bye for now.